The MilSub I built the other day is true to the original in many ways, but it lacks something I really appreciate in an everyday watch. When watches have a feature other than telling time, the feature is referred to as a complication. I learned that one complication I use often, multiple times a day, is the date function. I didn't realize how often I use my watch for the date until I started wearing one that didn't have this complication. So I decided to build a watch that uses the MilSub look I like so much, but with a date function. It's always important to check the function of the movement before you get too far along into the build. I'm using this vintage loomed flat black dial that has a date window. The white numerals on the black background of this NH35 movement give the date window a little bit of a more muted look. Combined with the sapphire crystal that lacks the cyclops, the date function will be functional but not as noticeable. I'm also using vintage loomed hands typical of the MilSub with that defining sword hour hand and a unique looking second hand. Making sure the second hand has a proper clearance is a critical step in putting the watch together. I'm using a titanium case for this build. It's another modern twist on a MilSub look. These movements always sit tightly in the case, but it's important to make sure they're lined up properly. And this alignment looks pretty good. Cutting the stem to length here. Staying true to the MilSub look, I replaced the bezel insert with one that came with 60 minutes worth of hash marks. And I put the whole thing on a NATO band. This build is super lightweight and you barely notice it on the wrist. So what complications do you look for in an everyday watch?